Today I've travelled to Shannon in Ireland. I'm with Jim Lenane from Lenane Precision Engineering, is it?
That's correct.
Okay, now we've come here to look at a Mills CNC automation cell which has been installed here about 18 months ago.
Yeah, about 18 months ago this stage, just before, it's probably 2 years ago. Yeah.
Now we're going to learn about how much this has transformed Jim's business, but more importantly, we're going to show you it in action. So let's go this way. Jim, you're obviously a Mills CNC fan, plenty of Doosan machines in here.
Yeah, I keep telling them I'm a mill showroom, I'm their mill showroom in Ireland, but it doesn't work for me sometimes.
Okay, now automation's one thing, but actually having the machine that can respond and be able to perform in accordance with automation is important. So you're obviously impressed with the Doosan range.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they brought us, at the end of the day, they brought us the whole solution. So it wasn't just a case of buying a machine and then plugging in another solution. They brought the whole thing, which was, for us, was critical. We didn't want to be dealing with different suppliers. We wanted one solution from one supplier.
Now, what we've got here is the DVF, the popular DVF 5000 5-axis machine. If the camera wants to have a quick look at the machine itself, 5-axis machining center being fed by an industrial robot, a system here which is keeping Lenane Precision running unmanned and out of hours. And Jim, is that the key to you for this? Is to really just keep that spindle going without operators having to be involved? I know we've got a gentleman here now, but he's not here all the time, is he?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So generally what we tend to do is we do our setups, do our first offs during the day. So when the guys are here, so basically in the evening time, night time, this is running lights out, completely lights out. So it can run 24/7. We do our setups during the day, and generally then it runs in evening time and night time.
Now, what have we actually got outside of the machine that I spoke about? I see the robots loading the machine at the moment, but how many pallets have we got? How does it all work? What's the tracking system? The payloads, all of that sort of good stuff.
Yeah, so I suppose, again, at the beginning, because we wanted flexibility, we overspec the actual robot itself to make sure that for future we had enough capacity in the robot to load. We initially started off with 38 pallets, but we have room, the way we designed it, we have room to add those pallets down along. It was very important at the time as well that when we put in the whole system to fit into our floor space correctly.
Now here is obviously where the intelligence happens.
Yeah.
I'm talking about your colleague and the automation system, which I'm sure you'd agree with.
Yes.
What happens here and how does it all work?
So basically, everything is driven from the Synergy system, but this is the loading station. So everything is loaded in through here. Basically, the guys can tell it how many parts we have, how many parts are in a batch. We can have different batches, so we can have backup work. If something goes wrong, it takes the next job. So all the parts are loaded in initially, and once the system is going, then it knows what part number, what pallet number for which machine.
Now, how realistically, or how long could you realistically keep this machine going with what you've got in there? A week, 2 weeks? I know it depends on the job.
Yeah, it depends on the parts we're doing, but we have ran, I think, the most of about 16 hours. But that's generally just because of the type of work we were doing. Okay,
so we're going to see here, this is a great example of, so this is where your pallet comes. It's got some kind of 0-point system on there, to make sure it's loaded in the right position. He's going to change the part, put a new part in, and then that pallet will then go back up into the...
It'll go back into the system again. So generally it depends on the batch size, what we're doing here. And again, we would try to do all our batches at night time at least, or depending on the way that the parts are, the cycle time in the parts.
Because I would think you could also put like a tombstone on there or a cube, get even more components.
Yeah, we haven't done it, but we actually have it designed. We have a tombstone designed for it specifically for this system, so we can put in tombstones.
Now, this isn't just feeding one machine. I'm going to take you around with Jim to see the second machine that it's actually feeding at the moment. You managed to fit this into all of a quite neat and tidy area, haven't you?
We have.
Who's responsible for that?
The space was...
If you want to step this side.
Space was a big thing for us because our building is long rather than wide, so we had to not shoehorn in it, built specifically to fit into this area. So this probably is phase one of what we see with the two machines. Phase two, which we've kind of started already, is to extend this up along the floor.
Okay, now what are the things that you had on the machine that you've put into the machine that help you run unmanned? Because obviously we're running at the moment. You have to think about your swarf, you have to think about measurement tools. Can you
Yeah,
talk?
absolutely. And I think this is where the experience with mills came in, that the guys identified beforehand some of the things that we didn't understand ourselves because it was our first time in automation. But obviously, swarf extraction is the big thing, because if you're running a lot of parts, and typically some of the aluminium parts that we run, there's a lot of swarf coming on. You can't have a build-up of swarf on the bed. It has to get out of there. So blowing the swarf out of there, there's different cycles in there for the swarf management to get the swarf out of there, which is hugely important.
And you've got extra air blasts, you've got extra coolant flush, you've got all those things
So
that help get...
upgraded pumps, more pressure, so they're just forcing the swarf out into the tray.
Okay, so this is machine 2. We're going to walk round now and take a look at a machine that was installed. So this DVF 5000 came in here literally a few weeks ago. It's in a slightly different orientation, and there's a reason for that.
Well, at the moment, we didn't put it into the cell. We didn't put it into the cell at the moment. Generally, what we found we were doing was we were taking one of the machines out of the cell to do our first offs. So it was delaying what we were doing. We didn't have the work. We had more work than we could handle. So we decided to invest. Now, what we've done with this machine, it's exactly the same spec as the other machines. So in time, it's going to go back into the cell.
So what's going to happen is this machine's going to orientate here 90 degrees. I'm assuming your robot area, your loading system is going to be extended.
Yeah,
Let's go and have a look.
So basically what happens here then is we can extend, all we have to do basically is extend the rail that the robot runs on, and probably add a few more pallets. So we have room on the wall to add more pallets. But it's this case of adding a rail, extending the rail, so the robot can move down to the next machine.
So you will be able to then feed the third machine. Now that's not where it may end as well, is it, Jim? From your experience so far, the success of this has enabled your company now to be more competitive, to make money, grow your customer base.
Yeah. So no, it is. I mean, the whole point of it was to be able to compete. So we compete globally for parts. And the one thing we didn't have was automation, but what we didn't have either was a suite of particular tooling that we were doing, so we needed flexibility. This cell is all about flexibility. So, like we said, this was phase 1, but we are adding this machine, and the next machine we probably end up putting in will be a bigger machine. So again, more flexibility right into the system.
It's only been here a couple of years, already having an impact for you, already helping you.
Huge impact, and it's helped us. Because of the price point that we can meet, it has helped us win new contracts as well. So we're coming close now to filling this cell with work, which is brilliant, because the way it happened with COVID.
And a big shout out for your business here to companies that are looking to put work out. You can help.
Absolutely. We're here. We're open for business, and come on in.
Okay, based in Shannon here in Ireland. What you see here is 2 machines and a third that's probably going to be integrated into the cell, and then there could be a fourth, who knows. It just demonstrates the success that Lenane Precision has had using Mills CNC and Mills CNC's automation solutions.